Hello and cheers to one of your favorite videos. This is a TPT Q&A where I asked on Instagram for some questions about TPT or business or really anything, and we're gonna be answering them today. I haven't looked at them, so we'll see what we get, but it'll be great. If you want to make sure your question is included in the next Q&A, make sure that you're following on Instagram. It's at becca.e.davis. Don't follow my Becca's music room unless you're, a music teacher and you want to see music-y things. But if you're not, then I would definitely say follow over on becca.e.davis because that's where we actually talk like TPT and things like that you are interested in. Future Becca here. I just wanted to let you know that if you are looking for some extra help for the back to school season, I have actually created a course that is all about how to prep your store for back to school. So we talk about things like what kind of products you should make for back to school, some that you can even make in a weekend. We talk about how to prioritize all the back to school things, how to update your store, how to optimize your products so you make the most money possible, and all sorts of really good things like that. And it is available, and I wanted to let you know because, if you're wanting some help for this back to school season, now is the time to get that because it's already in full swing. So I will leave a link down below so that you can grab that. If you want to see more of what's in it, you can click the link and go look at like the whole curriculum, and I'll show you every single thing that's included, including tons of freebies, lots of printables, lots of like social media templates, email templates, all sorts of good things. So I'll leave a link down below. You can go check that out, and let's get into the video. Make sure you got a coffee or a tea or a water or something that's interesting. I have a dog on my foot. And yeah, if you're wondering where I am, I'm in my office, but I'm in a slightly different spot. This desk used to have a keyboard on it, but we got a piano. So I was like, I'm not ever gonna play the keyboard because we have a piano and it's so much cooler. So I ended up putting that in the closet, and now I have an extra workspace. I'm not planning to film videos here. Actually, I did this specifically so that I could work here and film videos on the other one and keep it like more pristine and nice. But you know what? I thought it would be fun for today. So here we are, gonna take a sip. And let's get to it. First question says, how many, I hate trying to pronounce Instagram handles, but we're gonna try. Brandy.ch.robinson said, how many years did it take for you to see real financial growth in your TPT business? That is a really loaded question because it's going to depend totally on your opinions. Now, I do have all of my income reports on YouTube, so you can go check those out if you want like more of like a month by month situation. Let's see. When did I start TPT? Why do I have 90 notifications? Oh, I've actually made decent money today. That's really exciting. Sorry, I was not expecting that because it's been like, it's July, so it's been like, here's $1, there's $1. Ooh, you made $5 today. But today I made 135, which is like almost a normal day. So that was very exciting. That was not what I was looking for. I want all. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So I started TPT in September of 2018. So from September to the end of the year, I think I made 130. I made like $200 in 2018 in like 4 months. So not too terribly awful. Then my first real year would be 2019. I'm sure I have these figures somewhere, but of course I didn't bother to do that. All right, in year 2, just rough numbers, I made like 10,000. I didn't actually calculate that. I'm just kind of like guesstimating, so you can go and hear the actual numbers if you want to go watch the video. 2020, I do remember I made 25,000, so that was pretty good. And then 2021, I think I made like 50. I hope I'm not telling you lies. So that was the year that I consider to be like real financial growth because that was the year that I matched my teaching salary with TPT. Now, I didn't get to take home the same as my teaching salary because I had to like pay taxes and expenses and TPT memberships and all those kind of things. But overall, it was like the number was higher than my teaching salary, and that made me very excited. So if we say, 2019, 2020, 20. So maybe like 3.5 years would be what I would consider to be like real financial growth. And then 2022 was kind of the first year that like I didn't have to worry about it, if you know, want to go that way. And I felt pretty good about that because I hit such a huge personal milestone, not a TPT milestone, but a personal milestone last year. So I would say 3 years. However, I will also say that's 3 years of putting in like a lot of work. I was just having lunch with my friend today and she was like, how much time do you usually put into your store? And actually I think that's the next question. How much time do you invest in your TPT business weekly? I work on total all of my businesses about 10 to 15 hours a week. Most of that is on TPT. It's not all on TPT because like I make these videos for you and I just kind of lump it all together. But I think I did sort it out and decide it was 10 hours of just TPT. So if you're, you know, doing 2 hours a week, then you're probably not going to make that kind of growth, because honestly, the way I see it is it's not how many years, it's more how many hours, because you can be on TPT for 10 years and do an hour a week or 2 hours a week, and it's gonna take a lot longer to hit the same amount of growth as if you can do 10 hours in 1 year, you know? And so just the more hours you can put in, the faster you're gonna grow. Obviously be careful about that because I'm not always careful about that, and make sure that you are not working too much, that you're stressing yourself out. But overall it is, you know, it's hours, not anything else. Miss Hyun 121 says, tips for single mom juggling full-time job, 2 kids, and a puppy while trying to grow her TPT. Well, I'm not very qualified to give any kind of parenting, any kind of advice because I don't have any kids. But what my friends who do have kids have told me is the best option is to try to work when they're asleep or when they're busy. So if you have like, you know, dance class, take your laptop and while they're dancing, you can sit there and work. When they're asleep, it's a great time to work, whether that's you getting up early in the morning or staying up after they're asleep. And then see if you have maybe any friends that you can like trade time with. So see if like one afternoon a week they can keep your kids and then one afternoon you can keep their kids. And that way that'll give you like one free afternoon to get a little bit of work done. Don't try to multitask all the time, and be very clear with them, especially if they're, you know, if they're babies, that's one thing. But if they're, you know, 4, 5, 6, kind of talk about like, okay, this is going to be time where mommy plays with you, and this is going to be time where mommy works, and maybe I'm working in the same room as you so I can keep an eye on you. But just like kind of differentiating for them, like, this is when I'm going to be fully your mom and this is when I'm going to be working. Because otherwise, if you're trying to like be mom and working at the same time, it's just gonna like frustrate you and frustrate them because they're gonna be interrupting you and you're gonna be, you know, like just not focused. So if you can maybe do like, all right, right now we're gonna play all together, and then in an hour I work and maybe you play in your room or you play on the swings outside or whatever it is that you can like watch but not have to be like super focused, if that kind of makes sense. Those are the suggestions that I've gotten from my friends who have TPT and who have kids. If you have anything more specific to add, leave that down below. And also remember that all kids are different, and so there might be some kids that can happily play by themselves and there are some kids that just can't. And so bear that in mind whenever you get any kind of advice from anybody. You know, if you're a teacher, you got a lunch break. That's 30 minutes a day, right? 30 or, you know, 20 minutes a day. Still, that's an hour a week. That's, no, oh my gosh, Becca. An hour and 40 minutes a week, right? Eat and work, okay? You know, you're gonna have to be creative is the short answer. You're gonna have to be creative, but if you want that extra income to help not you but also your kids, you just gotta find a way. Kip Knight said, I would love to know the percentage of your sales that come through blogging. I have those written down somewhere, so please hold. Y'all are making me do a lot of math today. I'm not here for it. Not that I'm anti-math. I was actually really good at math in school. Direct sales, I'm just looking at March. I just picked the most recent, or no, I guess I did April. Oh well. March it is. In March, about 8% of my sales came directly from my blog. In addition to that, 14% of my sales came from my email list. And my email list is mostly from people who signed up from my blog. So I kind of count those as like, they work together because people go to my blog and then they sign up for my email list is the main way that that happens. So 14% from email list. So that's, you know, 22% that are directly essentially coming from my blog, or my blog to my email list to TPT, and that's direct traffic. So one thing that you always have to bear in mind with TPT is that people often will click on a link, go look at something, and then come back later and buy it. They might put it in their cart and buy it later. They might put it in their wish list and buy it later. They might see it, remember it later. They might, you know, look at it on their phone and go buy it on their computer. They might get to school the next day and then purchase it. So just because it says that like almost all of your income has come from TPT itself does not mean that almost all your income has come from TPT itself, because if they, you know, saw it in one thing, if they don't buy it in that session, it doesn't count. So just bear that in mind as you are looking at that. So 20% I would say directly related to blog, plus who knows how much from everything else. Unfollow Traniqua. I wonder who Traniqua is. Says, how do you make your worksheets that you sell on TPT? I have step-by-step explanations of those on the YouTube channel. Now Ingrid, always asking the hard questions, says, what's all the buzz about AI and how can it be used for TPT? Y'all, here's how I feel about AI. When I scroll through Instagram and I see a reel that someone's made or a carousel someone's made that's like, here's what you can do with AI, I scroll past it as fast as humanly possible. Is that what I should do? Probably not, because I'm sure that it's super helpful and it's really great and it's amazing and I should be, you know, looking into it. But I just don't feel like I have the brain capacity to figure it out right this second. And so I was really hoping over the summer I might free up some of that brain capacity, and then I filled up that brain capacity with redoing my house. So that didn't happen. So I don't know what the buzz about AI is because I have been avoiding it as much as humanly possible. That's all I've got for you. Sorry. I will eventually look into it and then I'll probably be like, I can't believe I haven't been doing this all the time. But it just, I don't know if y'all feel like this. I'm just like, it's just one more thing to learn and I'm like, I don't want to. Whew. Mombi for Life says, burnout from life, work, and procrastination and TPT products, getting out of ruts. Mombi for Life, you and I are in the same boat. Oh, I have had the hardest time over the summer. Which is odd because you're like, oh, it's summer, so you have all this time and you're not working. So I thought that it would be fine, and it has not been. I have had so much procrastination. I've had such a hard time getting myself to just do any work, really and truly. So here is what I am currently working on for myself. As far as procrastination and getting out of ruts goes, I have determined that I've narrowed it down to like a couple of problems that I am currently having, and basically they boil down to mostly I don't have a good goal and I don't have like a certain direction I'm going on. I don't really have a good project I'm working on, and so those are the things I'm looking at. It's like, okay, how can I figure out my goal based on things I actually care about? So not just like random things, but really thinking strategically, like what is a goal I can set for myself to work towards, because I'm not gonna work on things if I don't have something to work towards. You know, like when I was taking voice lessons, I was practicing my voice repertoire like 2 and 3 hours a day. And as soon as I stopped taking voice lessons, I could not bring myself to do it, because it was like, why? I don't have any concerts coming up. I'm not doing this, even though it's great and I love it. It's like, I need something to work towards, is personally what I have found. So I have been trying to figure out like, what are things that I can work towards that I care about, because if you don't care about it, it's not gonna be helpful. And so I've been really, actually I was just working on that this morning, trying to figure out like, what do I care about? What do I need? What are the goals? Where am I going? What's my life? I feel like I'm having a whole crisis, but it's fine. So that's point number 1. So I really got down deep into like, what are the things that I really truly want, and where am I going, and how can I make that happen? Having a goal really helps, because since I did that this morning, I have been so like, I need to get to work, which I have not done because I went to lunch and then I filmed this video, but you know, it's okay. And then also like getting out of ruts, switching things up, and or making a project. Ooh, gracious. So that's one other thing that I've noticed, is that I feel a lot more motivated, especially in the summer, to work if it's something different. So for example, I did a centers course in the spring for my music people, and it was great. And I was working all the time, but I was loving it, because it was a very specific goal. It was a very specific project, and it was a little bit different than what I'm normally doing. And I just had like a really good plan laid out. So come up with some kind of project, whether that's like a different kind of product that you've never made before, or maybe you start a YouTube channel or a blog or an Instagram or something like that, and just kind of really think about like, what is something that I could do that would switch things up and be a little different and would excite me. So those are the things that are gonna help. Blackbird Teaching says, any tips for getting more traffic to my TPT page? I post on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. Yes. You should be blogging. Yeah, so seriously, traffic for TPT, I would say, yeah, I mean, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, blog. Oh, here, I will go back through my things. YouTube. My traffic in order of most profitable to least profitable. Email is always number 1, always. Blogging is always number 2. YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram kind of go back and forth. However, I will say that a lot of my Pinterest traffic goes to my blog, so it's like Pinterest to blog to TPT, so I don't discount that, even if that one is low. I personally do not think that social media is the best way to get traffic to your TPT store. I know, I'm awful. It's really not, because the way social media is set up is it's very much set up to keep people on the social media platform, 1. 2, if you're not naturally good at social media, it can be so hard to actually grow. It has taken me years. Do you know how many years I have been on Instagram, and I'm at like 7,000 followers on my Becca's Music Room, which I think is great, but you know, it's like the years and years and years of work that is taken to get to that point, because I'm not a person who is naturally good at social media. Now, are there other people who get way bigger followings way quicker? Yes, I am not one of them. My route is more the slow and steady. So my point being that social media is not great, because 1, it can be really hard to grow an audience. 2, it's just not set up to send traffic places. It can send traffic places. I just told you I got traffic in March, because that's the one I was looking at, from Instagram, but it's just not set up that way unless you're paying for it, because you know what, Instagram and Facebook, they're businesses, and they want you to pay for traffic, because that's how they make money. Okay, so if you're looking for traffic, yes, social media can be fine, especially if that's something that you are like here for, but I'm assuming if you're telling me that you're probably not here for it. Okay, so in that case, I would go long form content, so YouTube or a blog, so that you can really explain your products in a way that show people and make people want to go buy them. I even actually, a lady at my church teaches gifted at another school in the district, and she came up to me and she was like, I found your YouTube channel and it was so helpful, because apparently their music teacher was out and they asked her to cover, and she was like, I don't know anything about music. So she went and she was searching for music lessons and she found mine, and her exact words were, I love finding lessons on YouTube because it's so easy to get the links to the things that I need. And I was like, whoa, yes, because it's right there in the description, or on a blog post, it's right there when I'm talking about it. So those are much better platforms for getting links to people. Yes, YouTube also wants to keep people on their website, but still, it's easier to get links. It's also easier to convince people if you can talk about something for longer than, you know, 90 seconds. And it's just set up much better for links and for explanations, I shall say. Pinterest is also really great, but Pinterest takes a long time to gain traction. So if you're doing Pinterest, you need to do Pinterest faithfully for like a year before you expect anything. Honestly, out of everything, I would say you need to faithfully be doing any of these traffic platforms, even if it's Instagram, for at least a year before you expect anything, because the internet is not as fast as it seems to be. There it is. So, sorry, that's not... You're never gonna come here and me be like, oh, you just do this thing and then you magically get more money. No, friends. It's business. You're working. Oh, one I didn't mention is updating your SEO or updating your covers can also help a lot, because on your product listing, if you update your SEO to make sure you have lots of search terms that you can actually rank for and do all that good stuff, then you'll rank higher on TPT, and that will drive more traffic to your store. And if your covers look really good and like your titles are really good, then people are much more likely to click on your product from the search page. Okay, so that's a good one too. All right, Zoe asked about my renovation list. So if you missed it, I've been redoing my house. So started with the piano room. I'll pop up a picture here. Yes, I did that trim by myself. I now own a saw. I'm very fancy. And then I did the dining room. We did board and batten, and their husband did help a little bit more with that one because the pieces of wood were bigger, and so I needed a lot more help with like holding it as we were like putting things up. So that one is one I would say use 2 people for that if you're trying that. The next renovations though, I now have a list for like every room in my house. Not gonna lie. The immediate things though are I'm working on outside. I've done steps 2 out of 4 of making a garden bed outside, all the way around the patio. So that is partially done. I'm gonna finish it when we get back from Boston. And then, so that's one. I really wanna redo the pantry. So for the pantry, I want to paint the door. And then we have like the wire shelving. So I'm gonna cover that with like wood covers essentially, and then get like new containers and stuff and just reorganize a little bit. And then I think I might be able to do the bathroom downstairs before I go back to school. So I'm gonna do board and batten in there as well. Paint it, I'm thinking like a blue-gray kind of color. And then I got a really big canvas. I'm gonna make like a really big painting to put on the top. And I'm considering painting the cabinet, but I have not decided. So we shall see. But I have lists for every room in the house at this point. So those are like the most immediate things. But I have, yeah, pretty much every room now has something that I would like to do in it. So it's just gonna be a matter of how much time I have once I get back to school, because, you know, if I'm working 40 hours and commuting and also doing this for 15, it's like, how many does that leave me? Not many. Third grade engaged said how to start a YouTube channel. I always laugh when I see questions like that, or like, how do you make your worksheets? Because that is a whole course worth of information, not just a, you know, 1 or 2 minute answer. Let's see, what's the quickest way I can say this? How to start a YouTube channel. Start. Honestly, one of my favorite YouTubers is Ali Abdal, and he talks a lot about like starting a YouTube channel because he has a course for that. And he always says, he's like, you just need to start. Just make videos. He was like, your first 50 videos, your first 100 videos are gonna be awful, so just get them done as quickly as possible, and then you can start getting good at them. Which I think is kind of funny advice, but it's so true, because you know, it's just gonna be hard and difficult. So I would say, take your phone, get like just a little, you don't even need a big one, just get like a tiny, you know, a little thing to prop your phone up on and film it this way, because your back camera is better than your front camera, and film a video. You can edit it on your phone. iMovie is, you can get on your phone if you're an iPhone. InShot is another one that is just an app, so I think it's available on both. And start posting. We can get more in depth, but in a Q&A, that's about all I can do. Mergen531 said, are you working on any products this summer, or more blog focused? Words. Much more blog focused. I mentioned a little bit earlier, I don't love doing products over the summer. I don't know why. I always think I'm gonna do it and then I don't. I think just because I really associate like products with like teaching, and so I would rather do something that's a little bit different. So this summer has been presentations. I've done, tomorrow I'm doing my 3rd presentation of the summer on Zoom. Two are virtual, one on Zoom, and then I have my in-person TPT session this week. So I've had lots of conferences and presentations to get ready. I have been blogging a ton. I've been filming quite a bit, not as much as I wanted to, but I have been. And just a lot of that kind of stuff. And even the next couple weeks, my list is things like work on my website and, you know, things like that that are not necessarily like quite as product focused. I do have a few products that I would like to get finished. So I have like a classroom decor that I started in May that is still not done. And so I would like to get that one finished. Maybe I'll finish on the airplane. We'll see. Did I say that I'm leaving for the TPT conference in 2 days? Yeah, that's why I keep talking about traveling in airplane. But I would like to get those finished, and then I have some back to school resources I would like to do, and so I would like to get them finished before August, but they may not be finished before August, so we shall see. I really do prefer switching it up a bit in the summer, and so blogging has been the main focus, along with all the other things. And the last question is a fun one, and it says, Richie's Resources TBT, what are your must-dos at Disney? We just got back from Disney. We were there last week. And so my absolute must-dos mainly revolve around food. Dole Whip has to happen every single time. It just does. So Dole Whip, always. We always go to the Springs every single time. I love checking out the stores at the hotels. So like we've stayed at the campground, so we checked out the campground store because they're different than in the actual places. And then other than that, it totally depends on where you're going, because we typically do shorter trips because we live close to Disney. We're only 4 hours away. We do shorter trips and we typically do one park each time. So like this time we did Hollywood Studios. Last time we did, when is the last time? Was it last November? That was a long time ago. November we did, I think we did Epcot. I don't know, but we typically do one park and not like all the parks 87 times. So because of that, we have different must-dos depending on where you're going. So Hollywood Studios we just did. My must-do there would be the Toy Story ride, Toy Story Mania. We rode it twice. It's my favorite, I think, in all of Disney World. It's so much fun. And I won both rounds, by the way. Just saying. So that would be my must-do there. I would say in general, at all of them, don't skip the shows, because you can get really focused on like, gotta ride all the things. Don't skip the shows, because there's a lot of shows, especially Hollywood Studios has a lot of shows. There's like a Beauty and the Beast show, and there's a Frozen sing-along that is amazing. We go there every time we go to Hollywood Studios. There's an Indiana Jones show that actually we just saw for the first time. Well, I hadn't seen it before. But don't skip the shows, because the shows are really fun, actually. They're always really good. They're usually pretty short, and it's nice to be able to like sit down and like chill for a second, especially if they're air conditioned. Those are fun, and just, you know, enjoy the ambiance. I like to do a big meal each time, and we try different restaurants. So this time we did the new Toy Story restaurant, the Rodeo Roundup, which was so good. It's hard to get in there, but it's so good. Yeah, so it just depends. Also, resort hopping is always a great time. That's when you just go and like check out the other resorts, because they all have different food and bars and lounges and restaurants and all sorts of things, and they're just all so themed and really fun. So I would say absolute must-dos, like things that I do every single time we go to Disney. Dole Whip every time. Try a new restaurant, preferably like a fun, like bigger meal. Don't skip the shows. Those would be my big ones. We do not do open to close, FYI. That's stressful. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me, and thank you for all your questions. And I've been doing these about every 4-ish months. So if you're looking for more questions, you can let me know over on Instagram. It's at becca.e.davis, or, you know, wait for the next one, or you can just send me your question and I will hopefully get back to you. Okay, bye.